awesome morning here in Utah, and the name of the game here is trying to build a pattern, intercept them during those transition phases. It's normally dead quiet in the morning, dead quiet at night, so it's really hard to get in position and move on them without them hearing you.
I've got two tags. I've got a mule tag and I've got an elk tag. I've always wanted to shoot a bull in full velvet, and the only way you're going to do that is to be here during these calendar years where the season opens a few days earlier, and there's still a lot of bulls in velvet. There's a few that aren't, but there's a lot of bulls in velvet. So we're going to be stalking bulls all through the day, and in the evening, if we can spot a muley somewhere, we're going to be going after muleys.
Worked out perfect. Got in here with a big group. Just waiting to see the right bull. Wind's perfect. Just gonna play this out. Right on the other side of this tree. The big one, he's huge. Right on the other side of this tree. We're gonna be 40 yards from him when we come up. Just be ready. He's right around this corner. He's 40 yards on the other side of this pine tree coming down.
Although this was a good bull looking right at us up close, the biggest bull was actually looping around behind him, behind the pine trees. It was that big, wide bull that was perfectly in full velvet. Now at this point, there's bulls all around me, raking off velvet, feeding. I thought everything was perfect. This big bull in front of me just needed to move about 15 yards more to our right, and he would have been in a perfect shooting lane. We were just letting the elk do their thing, filter through, and I was waiting for this shot. Unfortunately, my buddy behind me didn't know that Sharon and I were communicating perfectly and waiting for the right opening, and him making those mouth calls just blew the whole thing.
All right, that was an awesome opportunity. Huge bull, and just came down to the communication. I was at full draw waiting for the bull to step into a lane at 40 yards. And my buddy behind me thought that he needed to stop, so he started cow calling at him and got him to stop right behind a tree rather than just letting him go that extra 5 yards. He would have been wide open at 40, but what an opening day. Perfect.
The next day, we covered a lot of ground looking for muleys. And to our surprise, we found an awesome buck that had all kinds of character and trash going on. We did our best to stay far enough away to keep our eyes on him and see if we could bed him down. And then we went ahead and made a stalk to try to get in closer on this awesome buck. Once we got in and we got a really good look at him, we realized that this buck was just a little bit younger than what we were after. And a lot of times, if you're in a decent area and it was a tough tag to draw, these are the choices that get so tough as a hunter, is finding a good buck but realizing he just isn't at the maturity level that you want in this area. So we elected to take a good look at him and back out and try to find another buck that was a little more mature.
There's only a 5x6, the biggest one. And the one in the trees. This right in here is just classic bull bedding. You can see these bulls' beds. There's a bed there, bed there, bed there, another bed beneath. Right here is where he's been scraping. But where these real tall spruce and dark timber is, they love to bed underneath that canopy. It's so quiet, it's really hard to move. We're moving as slow as we can. We could hear something, but we couldn't quite figure out where it was. And we came around the bottom side of this rim. And there were two bulls just bedded right here, maybe 60 yards. But one let out a loud bark. They went up the hill, so getting close. We just need the wind to pick up, and then we need to get to an area where we can see better and have a lot of fresh sign, and we're probably going to just spend some time in there and hang out. That was an awesome night. Literally perfect plan, just wrong bull. Waited here for probably about 3 hours. 3 nice bulls came across. I figured they would stage up. Sure enough, they just stayed hidden for about an hour. We just kept dead quiet. And then they just come out here and put on the best show you could ask for. Didn't punch a tag tonight, but man, this was just a bow hunter's paradise. Out here on this awesome water hole, getting to see a western sunset and bulls kicking up water, rolling in the mud, a little fighting. It was get you fired up for September, but we got a few more days of August left. All right, we're out here at first light, and the game plan is as soon as we can see this buck, we're gonna have to make a move fast. We've been patterning him for a few days, but he is literally making his move super quick as soon as the sun comes up. He's going into one of these deep basins that has way too many aspens. We can't find him during the middle of the day. So this is just a matter of find him and make a quick plan and try to just intercept as quick as possible so this could happen fast. This thing's getting ready to play out. We've got a real short window of opportunity. We're gonna make our way through these aspens, pop up. This buck's feeding across this hillside really quick, trying to head to cover. Got the perfect wind. It's go time. I can see him.
what just happened was he came by at 51 yards and just couldn't be happier with that. Bottom pin, put it on him, made the shot, and just, he was dropping as it came in and just flattened him on the spot. But what a crazy buck. We dropped our shoes. Look at this sucker. Dude. What an amazing morning here in Utah. We're a few days into season, and this is an awesome buck that we actually spotted on the very first morning, but he was already heading to bed and heading into a spot where there's just no way we'd be able to have a successful stalk with noise, and he was just in a very, very beneficial place for himself. And we just kept at it. We got out here right at first light and luckily spotted this guy feeding along the top of this little knob right here, and we were able to get beneath him, have the wind right, and as the sun was coming up behind us, he was all lit up. We were in the dark shadows. We were able to slip up. I seen his rack coming, and I was ranging this big old massive fork right there. I was just ranging the mass on that fork, and I kept getting 51 yards, 51 yards, 51 yards. So I drew back and just let him clear that bush right into my lane. And once again, perfect example of why I'm shooting rage. That tri-pan absolutely worked perfectly on this buck. Just give you a rundown of my setup. I'm shooting about 75 pounds right now with a knock-on axis. Shooting the max 23 vanes with the nocturnal knock, and like I said, I did shoot a tri-pan on that. I couldn't be happier, and once again, this is another example of just being amongst a group of muleys and not being detected. I'm a believer in hex. This is one more example of why. Oh man, what an awesome hunt. Just an amazing full velvet muley. So much mass. I mean, look at the mass. Look at the height, mass. Oh, I'm so happy. And I'm gonna be able to, I've got some good friends in camp. I'm gonna be able to fire up the Traeger, enjoy some fresh backstraps. Life is good. Knock on, everybody.
Once we got this awesome buck back to camp, it was time to do one of the things I love the most, which is totally process this buck and get an awesome cut of meat on the Traeger to enjoy with my buddies.
I'm out here getting ready to enjoy a little backstrap medallion. My go-to rubs are the prime rib rub, the Blackton Saskatchewan, and I put some knocked and loaded on the top to give it a nice coffee rub. So I did the one side, gonna sit here and rub up the other side. I've got the grill going right now at 375. Gonna do a little quicker cook today for lunch. I'm gonna cook this thing until it hits, for me personally, 135. I'll take it out and I'll set it in a Yeti for about 15 minutes, and this thing is gonna be delicious.